Hello, welcome to the It's Raining Crafts podcast. Sorry for that awkward pause. My name is Raina. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry under SF Chick. Today is Thursday, October 20th, 2022. I hope that you're having a good week so far. We just came back from Rhinebeck on Sunday. So it was a lot of fun this past weekend. I went with my mother and my mother-in-law. And we drove up on Thursday in the rain, the torrential rain, but Friday and Saturday and Sunday. We didn't go to the festival on Sunday, but we did on Friday. Went to Woolen Folk on Friday and the festival on Saturday, and the weather was just perfect. Lines were uber stinking long. The hill was the hill. I will say that it was crowded, but I managed to find people that I've talked to online or have met me before at Rhinebeck. So that was a lot of fun. And I made some purchases that I will share with you when I roll them up. But I've been thinking about what to do with this channel, and I'm open to suggestions. I thought maybe I'd have like a bi-weekly newsletter or a bi-weekly podcast. And then or I was thinking about It's Raining Crafts Discord server. So if you're watching, please feel free to comment below or send me an email or shoot me a message and tell me what you would like to see. So I have a finished object. It's waiting to be mailed. It's upstairs. It's already sealed in the envelope, but I made it for a good friend of mine from college. I made her a modified version of the Hohi Locatelli's 3 cashmere cow, because I thought, this is long enough, so I made it for her. So if you can see it on my phone, the dark color is Rita May yarn. The light pink is Moonglow Yarn Company. And then the variegated part is Ancient Art Dye Works out of Canada. So I made that for my good friend Jen. I haven't seen Jen in forever, so I thought what best way to connect than to make her something. So I did, and I worked on it up at Rhinebeck, worked on it on the way home from Rhinebeck, on the way to Rhinebeck. So it had quite a journey in the car, and I needed car knitting for the 4 hours that we were on the road. So in turn, I think that I am turning into a monogamous knitter. I keep turning my head this way. The microphone is here. So I realized that when I was working on my alpenglow by Andrea Mowry. That was her sweater for this year in Rhinebeck. It was an all over Colorworks sweater. I know people who are making second ones. I think that I'll take a break from making garments for a while until something in me bites the bug again. But I'm just satisfied working on one project at a time now. So what I currently have is a sock by it's just a cuff down sock, vanilla sock, meaning that there's no patterning in the sock. So I'm about 20 rows in. I did 10 by 2 by 2 ribbing for the cuff, about 10 rows, and then I just started the stockinette part. This is, let's see, can I move it this way? This is Freckled Whimsy on her Kismet base in I have the Will You Be My Rainbow. So here's the label, and then it's 3-ply fingering, 80/20 merino nylon, 400 yards, 110 grams. I like this yarn, and I have so much yarn that now I just close my eyes and pick a skein out of one of my cubes back here. And that's what I did with this. And I'm glad that I did, but I think that I need to find me another Swift, because my cake came out like this. And I had to wind it to, it came out like a flying saucer. So I decided to wind it by hand for the rest of the cake when I realized it was doing that. That didn't make me so happy, but I'm sitting at my desk, which is part of our finished basement. And that way is the back of the basement. It's where my Chow Goo Amish Swift is. Somewhere back there. I don't know where, but we're in the process of organizing and finding stuff, and we just took the month of October off because we were going to Rhinebeck, and Kellen's birthday is on Wednesday the 26th. If you don't know, Kellen is my son. He was born on October 26, 2010, so he will be 12 this year. Oh my goodness. He's like 12 going on 32. This morning, I messaged my husband last night and asked him, I said, can I bum a ride off of you instead of taking an Uber tomorrow morning after you drop him off at school? And he said, sure. So I get in the car this morning. Dave proceeds to tell me a story about our son. He has short black socks. Now you're supposed to wear full black socks at school. He has a uniform. He got told many times by people at school, you have to have full black socks on. So he told Dave, I need full black socks. Well, Dave went to Target while I was at my appointments and got him black socks. So hopefully that resonates itself. Then he proceeded to tell me, no, it's fine. It's fine. I'll take care of it. I will do whatever. I will take care of the problem at school. Well, Dave got him the socks. And while we were out, my mother-in-law texted my husband after he bought the black socks that there's a whole bunch of black socks, full black socks, on the bottom of his sock drawer that are hidden. So, life with an 11-year-old. What do you have to say about that? And so anyway, I looked at my husband and I said, that isn't me coming out of him. That's you coming out of him. And he's like, I know, I trained him to be like me. I'm like, really? And it's just, all I can do is just shake my head at this stuff when this stuff happens with my child. But yeah, he will be 12 next week. And I think we're going to have a family birthday party on his birthday at my mother-in-law's house. Is where he wants it. And then this weekend, I'm going to ask him if he wants to do bowling with his cousins and friends on the day before Halloween. So that's that. And I don't know what. So we went to Rhinebeck. Of course, 2 years off the pandemic. This is my second year going. This was my mother-in-law's first year going. Saturday was jam-packed. We got in line early to, we got in line. Well, we had the tickets in advance. We bought them back in the summer. So we already had our tickets to Wollenfolk and to Rhinebeck. So we had the best time. Thursday night we got to the hotel. We had dinner at the hotel downstairs and drank some adult beverages and went to bed because the next day was Wollenfolk. So we got my mother-in-law is not a night owl. She's an early bird. As am I. I'm changing into an early bird. I'm not a night owl anymore like I used to be. So we go down to breakfast and we did our thing. We went to breakfast. We brought my mom back some food. By the time it was time for her to get ready because we had to go to Wollenfolk. And it was so much fun. It was on the Hudson River, right on the Hudson River, in a brickyard, the Hunting Brickyards. And they had booths with vendors set up, and I knew which vendors I wanted to go to and what I wanted to buy. But so we're walking around and I see a few things that piqued my interest, but the only thing that I went back for was my coffee mug. And it says Craft All the Magic. And it's by Home Fiber Company. And that was like the cheapest thing that I bought the entire weekend because it was only $21. So then I'm like, oh, Woolens and Notch, let's go in here. So I direct my mother-in-law. I'm like, come on, we're going this way. and so I got my skein that I was planning to get. And I'm standing in line with her, and we're talking to the people in front of us and behind us, and then I see a Star Wars color. If you know me, I can't resist Star Wars now, especially if it has to do with Baby Yoda or the Mandalorian. So I found a color called This Is the Way from Woolens and Notch. I'm like, I have to get this too because it's Star Wars. You know? It's just Star Wars and it's pretty and it would make it makes a great memory. So I bought the yarn, and then my mother-in-law, like, we split because she had to go to the bathroom. So I said, okay, I'll be down here. So I'm at the Brooklyn General booth, and they have Lobby Anime yarn. I never knit with Lobby Anime. I knew it was a store in Paris, France. I knew the owner was there because I saw her. So I was foolish. I didn't ask the price. And I picked up 2 skeins of worsted and went to pay for it. And they're like $80. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, I have to decline. I'm sorry, but I had to decline. So I walked away from that. More power to me because I would have never done that. But I was on a limited budget. I had a limited amount of money that I wanted to spend. So I had the Woolens and Notch yarn, and I had the Home Fiber Company mug. And then so then my mother-in-law finds my mother. My mother has a book, her nose in a book, over on the benches. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you guys go that way. I'm going this way. So then I looked at the time and I'm like, oh, it's Andrea Mowry time. Andrea Mowry. I'm a big fan of hers, if you don't notice. So then I walked over there and I got to talk to her. I told her she was such an inspiration and I love her podcasts, and that my son wears her sweaters around the house because he's cold. And I thanked her for her email of helping me out with my other sweater conundrum that I emailed her about a few weeks ago. Because originally I wanted to wear my Sparky because the place that I got it in Maryland was going to be there. But I opted out. I was like, I'm just going to wear my bean and olive. Because my bean and olive, that's like one of my favorite sweaters. Because it's so comfy and it's cozy and it's out of fingering weight yarn. And it's pink. And I don't have enough pink in my stash. Which is a lie. So, I got my picture with Andrea Mowry. First one of the day. First one of the trip. So then we went to this horrible winery. And I forget what it was called. The hotel recommended it. The wine wasn't. I'm not a wine drinker. My mom and my mother-in-law did not like the wine. The woman was very nice, but the wine, I thought the wine was okay, but I'm not a wine drinker. I'm more of a beer drinker. So then we decided to go to dinner. And we had our dinner. We went back to the hotel for a little bit. And I knitted on Jen's cowl. And I watched TV a little bit with my mom and my mother-in-law. And we were just talking and getting ready for the next day, because the next day was alpenglow day. I've been waiting for this day since I got the sweater. Since I got the sweater pattern in July, I had the alpenglow finished on the Thursday, exactly a week before we left. Because my mom went out and I got done with the sweater and I soaked it and I laid it out on the table, and it's perfect. It's perfect. And it took about 3 days to dry, because I didn't stick in. I usually stick my sweater and my accessories in the dryer, because I want them to I want the yarn to shrink up. I did that with Jen's cowl. And so alpenglow day. It was so crowded that day. The lines were uber long. The buildings and barns were just crazy. So we went to we first made our trek in the buildings, and then I found some stuff. I didn't want to buy it yet, but then I saw a booth called Bumblebee Acres. They had House of Dragon yarn. It's my show. I'm like, ooh. I'm like, ooh, let's go. I'm like, we're going here. I'm going in here. So my mother-in-law follows me. And so that's my first skein of the show. A red skein called Fire and Blood on Sparkle. It's so pretty. It's so lovely. And then we were just walking around, talking to people and looking at other people's sweaters and stuff. And then we found my mom. And then we ate lunch with her. Then it was time to go check out some more stuff. And we had about 20 minutes until Andrea and Mowry's meetup. So we're walking around, and then we realized the time, and we're like, oh, let's go. She's like, I don't want you to miss Andrea and Mowry in your sweater, you know? I mean, that's really, it's really exciting to be in the sweaters, the Rhinebeck sweater of the year. But it was like, oh, she has to see it. I'm like, oh, she has to see it. Come on, let's go. So my mother-in-law got a little overwhelmed on the hill. There were so many people. I just kept pushing my way through until Someone recognized me from last year. Hi, Hannah. If you see me. Hi, Hannah. So I was talking to Hannah and then and then it was my turn to take my picture with her, so I got 2 pictures with her. So that's 3 pictures with Andrea Mowry this weekend. And then I'm like, okay, you hit a point, your adrenaline, I ate, so my adrenaline was okay. But then I just hit a point where, okay, I don't want to be around people. I want to go shop. So that's what I did. I hit up some more booths. And then the last booth was right across the way where I got my House of Dragons skein, my first House of Dragons skein. I'm like, I need to go back and get that other skein. So my mother-in-law made a joke, was making fun of me when I met up with her. She's like, you had to go get another skein, didn't you? I said, I had to get this skein because Rhaenyra is almost like Rhaena. So, of course, I had to go get the skein called Rhaenyra. And that's it. We were done. We met up with my mom again, and we went to it was time to leave the festival. So my mom hit up a vendor, and I was outside waiting for her, and I was holding Mom's book. She was reading a book about the January 6th situation. And someone says to me, oh, I met a woman yesterday who was reading that same book. Are you? I said, no, it's my mother's book. Here it turns out to be the woman that was talking to our Woollen Folk, Diana. And then we found out Diana's from Georgia. So, of course, before I moved to York and Red Lion, I was involved in politics in San Francisco. So that's my other love. So I joke with my mother-in-law. I'm like, my worlds collide in October because there's yarn and there's the election, and they just merge into like one. And I can't pick one, but and I can't pick one love or the other. So that was it. We had lots of fun. Will we do it again? We will probably do it again. We will probably go on Sunday. Shopping on Sunday. Because there's less people. But it was also the first year that people decided to come back because it was safe from the pandemic in 2020. So, I could see that. I could see why there were a lot of people there. That there were just droves and droves of people, and it was a lot of fun. So, I'm sorry that I put all my yarn away because I'm trying to keep myself organized now and knit through my stash. I went into Ravelry the other day. I have more than 300 skeins behind me and in the cupboard underneath my TV down here in the basement. So I gotta knit through some stash. So a wool was stashed. My alpenglow sweater was stashed that I bought in 2020, May of 2020, from the Maryland Sheep and Wool Virtual Festival for Mo Wool. And then when I went back to wool this year, and I bought the yellow contrast to go with the sweater, the yarn, because I was going to make another metamorphic, not another. I was going to make another design by Andrea Mowry. But then I'm like, am I going to enjoy knitting this? And I had to talk myself down. Because I like short rows, but I don't like purling short rows. And that's part of the pattern. Because when I do short rows, it's hard for me to count and see it's hard for me when I'm doing ribbing. I'm doing ribbing. I'm doing knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2. I'm talking to myself as I'm doing it. As I'm doing short rows, I'm counting the stitches as I am knitting or purling them, so I have the right number. I hope that makes sense. But I forgot what I was going to say. So I'm knitting my sock right now, and I'm quite happy with it. I'm about 20 rows in, and it's making me happy, because I'm not on a deadline knitting like I was that Rhinebeck sweater. So, feedback. Remember when I asked at the beginning of the episode if you have any feedback for me? Please leave a comment below, like, subscribe, hit me up on Instagram or Ravelry with any suggestions that you may think, or like a Discord. Everybody and their mother is doing Discord. So I thought that maybe I could start one, but I think that I need more followers to have a Discord. And then I was thinking about a newsletter. In the newsletter I would probably photos when I'm knitting, what I'm listening to, what I'm watching, all that stuff. So anyway, if you have any feedback, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.